Hey, alright, so hopefully you guys have your paper from yesterday. It was page 919 that you were asked to complete. Today I want you to know that it's going to be a little bit different. I am not going to teach a full lesson. So today I'm just going to review over what you were asked to do yesterday, and then I want you to go back and watch the video that I recorded yesterday as a review. Your next thing will be to complete the Google form in your Math Google Classroom, okay? So I have already assigned that to you. Those of you that are not in my Google Math class already, I think I want to say it's MG and Taisha, you guys need to accept the request that I sent you through your Gmail account to link onto my Google Classroom. If you're still having problems, just send me a note through Padlet, okay? But today, everyone, your assignment is going to be to complete your math assignment that I pushed out in your Google Classroom for math. But before you do that, make sure you review so you're really feeling strong about triangles and polygons, okay? All right, so let's go over this. There's a large pyramid standing in front of the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. The sides of the pyramid are shaped like triangles. Classify the red triangle based on its angles. So looking at this, you can see that all of these sides appear to be the exact same, okay? You can also see that these are very small angles or acute angles. So there are three acute angles, so the triangle formed by the sides of the pyramid makes it an acute triangle because all three angles are acute. Okay, so that's if we were to classify it by its angles. Let's look at this one. We have a measurement, so since we have measurements, we know that we're not going to classify it by angles, we're going to classify it by its sides. So determine the number of congruent sides, congruent means the same, then classify the triangle based on its sides, okay? So I see none of the same measures, so because of that, it has 0 congruent sides, and that would make this a scalene. All right? Let me get my other paper over here. All right, and then let's look at the vocabulary check. It says, fill in each blank with the correct term or numbers to complete each sentence. All right, so let's look at the first one. An equilateral triangle is a triangle with 3 congruent sides. Okay. An acute triangle is a triangle with 3 angles. All 3 angles are less than 90 degrees. Okay. An obtuse triangle is a triangle with 1 angle that is greater than 90 degrees. So if you remember, a triangle can only have one 90-degree angle or one angle that is greater than 90 degrees because all 3 angles inside of a triangle can have to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so let's flip this over. Look at the triangle on top of the White House in the photo. Describe the sides and angles of the triangle. Okay, so if I were to look at this triangle right here, I notice that this bottom line is much longer than these other two, but I do notice that these two are the same. I also notice that this angle here seems to be obtuse. So I could take a lot from this. I could say something like this has 2 congruent sides. I could say it has 1 obtuse angle. I could say that it has 2 acute angles. So if I were to classify this shape, I would say that it is obtuse. And I could also say it's isosceles. Okay, and so one of the reasons why I came to that conclusion is because it has 2 congruent sides. And it has at least 1 obtuse, well, it can only have 1, I shouldn't say at least, but 1 obtuse angle. it can only have one obtuse angle. Okay, the other two angles have to be acute if one is obtuse. All right, so let's look at number 6. Serena has an art easel with sides of equal length. Sorry, no 2 there. Serena has an art easel with sides of equal lengths. She opened the easel and placed it on her desk. Classify the triangle formed by the easel and the desk according to its sides. Next, classify the type of triangle formed by the easel and the desk according to its angles. So if you're thinking about that, if it has sides of equal length and it's placed on her desk, and I'm trying to classify it based off of the desk, then I'm going to assume that it's got at least 2 equal sides or 2 congruent sides. So because of that, I'm going to say that it's going to be isosceles. And then next it says to classify it also according to its angles. So based off of what I know about how this is formed, I'm going to also assume that the angles are acute. Okay, so both isosceles and acute. All right, so let's look at number 7. The image shown at the right contains many triangles. Describe the different types of triangles found in the image. So if you're looking at all of these triangles, you'll be able to see that there are some isosceles, there are some scalene, there's some acute, right, and obtuse. All right, let's look at number 8. We're almost done. A triangle has 2 sides that are perpendicular. Could the triangle be isosceles, equilateral, or scalene? Explain. Well, first thing you have to understand is what perpendicular means. Perpendicular just means that they are running this way to this way, okay? So if 2 sides are perpendicular, then that means it is a right triangle. Why? Because perpendicular lines run that way and that way to each other, okay? So it would be a right triangle. Okay? Now, one thing I also know about a right triangle is that I can have a right triangle that is isosceles, and I could have a right triangle that is acute. I'm sorry, not acute, scalene. So it could be isosceles or scalene. Okay, now why couldn't it be acute? Well, it can't be acute if it has an angle that's right, that's 90 degrees, because once it has an angle that's 90 degrees, then it can't be acute, okay? It also can't be equilateral because it can't have 3 90-degree angles, so that's why I said isosceles and scalene, okay? It cannot be equilateral. Let me go ahead and explain that. Cannot be equilateral because all the angles cannot equal 90 degrees. Okay? All right, so let's look at this last one down here. Which of the following figures is obtuse? All right, so if I'm looking at this, I can see that this is an acute angle right there. This is an acute angle, and this one is not quite 90 degrees. It's kind of slanted, so this is also acute. So I'm going to say acute. And yes, I skipped over the right answer. I know that you guys already know that one. All right, but I'm going to look over here, and again, I see acute, acute, and then again, another angle over here. but this angle appears to be 90 degrees right there. So if this is a 90-degree angle, then this is a right triangle. All right, and then looking at this one, I notice again, this is acute. This seems to be equilateral. It seems to have all sides and angles that are the same. So this is also acute. So this one right here, opening up a lot wider, has an obtuse with two acute angles. So this one is obtuse. Letter A. All right? All right, so what I need you guys to do today is to go back and watch that video about triangles and triangle classification. If you're not really feeling strong with it, or if you had any struggles with the paper that we just went over today, okay? And then once you complete that, I need you to go to your Math Google Classroom and complete the Google form. And yes, I will be looking at the grades and giving you feedback on those grades, all right? Have a good day, guys.